In Hogwarts Legacy, we have at our disposal the Room of Requirements, in which I have finally completed getting damn near everything that you can get. But a lot of what I did was incredibly wrong in terms of proficiency. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how you're going to get the money and capital to buy blueprints, and also what you should be spending your money on first. This is something I wish I would have known before I got into it, ideally not knowing that the refinery is literally just the blood of your entire room of requirement. I did not know that's what this was, and it is. So get this first. Well, first of all, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. How do you get access to the room of requirements? First of all, it's quite a bit in there. I would highly suggest playing a lot. Get to around 12 quests into the game. Main story quests, get into the game. Eventually, you will unlock it just by a story quest. It'll force you to unlock it. I think it's around the 6th mission mark. But if you can, don't invest too much into it just yet. Wait until you can push until you get to the beast class. So like a class that's about petting and cleaning beasts. Get to that point and then go like 2 or 3 quests over. This is also, just finish this chunk here. So we like the last 2 things you have to do. Eventually, after you get to that point, you will get to the elf, the knapsack, and the loom. This is what gives you your knapsack to capture beasts, which is extremely valuable, and also your loom, which tells you how to upgrade your character and get better. We'll talk about upgrades and how to make your character hella OP, but right now we're just gonna be talking about leveraging the most you possibly can out of your room of requirements. Great, so now that we know how we get it, you need to get to that point, around 12 quests in, pretty deep in, probably like 12 hours or something like that, 7 hours if you're really gutting through the story. So now that you've done this quest and you now have your knapsack, how the hell do you gain capital in order to buy the very, very expensive items in Hogsmeade that are the blueprints to be able to make all of the useful things in this place? Well, let's get into that. How do you make money in Hogwarts Legacy? Pretty easy, and how do you make a lot of money? So the reason why we get to that point is because that's how you unlock your knapsack, and your knapsack and farming beasts is where you basically get all of your money and that you could ever need. You're gonna want to come right over here. You want to go to this one. This is also a puff skin. So just go to the one in between these 2 fireplaces right here. Teleport there, then just go 2 feet to the right. It takes a weird, there it goes. Spawned in. Then go there, grab up all the enemies. This is probably in some way have been playing in the background of us doing exactly this. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to have to sleep. So go back to this teleportation point and then sleep, which you do by hitting the analog stick if you're in a place that can be time can pass. We're in Hogwarts right now, so it doesn't really matter, so it won't let me do it. But yeah, you'll just pass time. That resets the enemy. There's no negative to passing time. It just resets the enemies. And then you go hit this spot up again, hit this bit up again, etc. And now that you have a ton of beasts, you're going to want to go to Hogsmeade and sell all those beasts off over here in the unicorn thing right here. Sell them all off and then just rinse and repeat until you have a decent amount of capital. I think you need like 20k, which actually is not the worst to be able to attain. I would highly suggest doing a couple runs, getting like 3,000 or 4,000 or 6,000, and then going and buying blueprints, setting up shops so they're continually making capital for you. But then the next question, now that you have a bunch of capital, you've went and farmed up all the beasts, you've sold them to that lady. If you want to, you can keep the ones with stars near them because that's special. They're special beasts. Doesn't mean a lot, but yes, special beasts. Anyways, or puffkins. So now that you have a bunch of money, you're going to want to go to the tomes and scrolls. And honestly, you're just going to buy up everything in Hogsmeade. If you want to have a lot of herbology power, chomping cactuses, or Chinese chomping cabbages, Jesus, you can go here, buy up all the seeds, like actual seeds, not plants. Because seeds is what you can plant, and you can do that indefinitely, which is nice. Anyways, so you want to go there, buy up all this, go here, buy up all that. You'll have all the things you need, but now you're going to want to have a more efficient turn rate. So you're going to want to go and buy some scrolls, aka blueprints to make stuff in your room of requirement, but please follow the order of importance that I'm going to tell you what you need to get. Okay, so first things first, the main thing that you're going to want to buy is the refinery. Oh, I already bought a lot of the stuff, but I should be able to show you guys the one that you should buy the first and foremost, which is, I can't. Damn it. All right, I done goofed. I can't show you them because I don't have enough save to do that. So, sorry. But one of the things you need to buy is the refinery. It is essentially the thing that it says refinery, but it's so much more than that. It functionally allows you to constantly get rocks, and rocks are going to be your bottleneck for doing this. Now, there are places that you can farm rocks, it's nice, or moonstone thing that allows you to build stuff within your room of requirement, which is going to be the thing that bottlenecks you, so try to get the refinery, okay? Now, only buy the large or max capacity of an item. So for instance, this is a potion table that it allows you to have 3 potions in tandem. That's really good. There's also one that allows you to have 2. Get whatever the max version of that is. If it's 4, then it's 4. If it's 5, then it's 5. For medium planting stations, I believe it's 3. The 3 that you can plant is the max. Get the max, because everything is bottlenecked within your room of requirement, which is what I wish I would have known. So if you do buy 1, 2, and 3, it's not like you can plant 1, 2, and 3. You can only plant a certain capacity, the best capacity being the 3rd. So yeah, all right, we're back at our lovely jubbly home, okay? So again, these are the things that you should first start to buy. These are things that's going to constantly keep a churn rate so that you can have everything to build and you won't be bottlenecked. This is something that I screwed up on big time because I didn't know refinery meant moonstone forever, basically. Which if you build 3 of these, which is the max capacity that you can build, you're going to have plenty of moonstone to build everything else. Great. Get that as soon as you possibly can and just set it off to the side. It's going to be the thing that's going to power all of your other creation. So now, again, you want to buy the highest capacity that you can for each thing. So there's small pots, big pots, and medium pots. Buy the highest yield of each section. So for the small pots, you can get a lot. For the medium pots, you can get 3. And then for the big pots, you can get at most 2. But you're only allowed a certain amount of these each time. And this is honestly one of the biggest frustrations with me in this game, is it doesn't let you leverage and gamify things to the degree in which they become ludicrous and or really, really fun. So for instance, you guys can see potting table budget is 7 out of 7. So I have the maximum amount of potting table budgets that I can attain. In this one, and in this one, and within this one. So yes, you can see a little pot, big, medium pot, and big pot. And then we have these things. And these are honestly the thing I think you should get immediately. Not the composter, because it's not as good. What this does is allows you to yield 1 extra yield from your plant, which is great when you're making something that's doesn't have that much of, and it's a pain in the ass to make, like a venomous tentacula. They take a long time to create, and you can have basically 2 of these, and that's kind of nice, but ultimately, this is the other thing, you'll eventually get to the point where you can't hold any more. And honestly, unless you're just spamming these every single combat engagement, you basically always have these ready to rip. Because like you guys can see, if I were to take this, which I did, it would take a less time to come back because we're just picking off the venomous bites, essentially, not necessarily ripping it out from the root, so it's going to come back faster. And the reason why that's not very good is because, like right here, I can't collect this because I maxed out on this. They don't let you store these things. This is something that sucks. So you can't just like get like 100 of these plant in reserve. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So you'll eventually just reach max capacity if you're doing this right. Just placing down pots, putting plants in them, you'll eventually get to the point where unless you're spamming this every single combat engagement, you can't actually leverage it. So then what should you get first? Because this eventually will have mass diminishing returns, because eventually you're just going to have full pockets. Well, the things that you have complete use for is this right here. These are called chopping stations. So that'd be my second thing I think you should buy. You should buy the refinery first, that gives you moon ore, that allows you to build your whole environment, as long as you're grabbing them consistently. Then you have this, which is your chopping plots. Chopping stations is what they're called. Buy those from the Wandering Shop. You can only have 3 of 3 of these, which is unfortunate, but yes. But the point is that, you're always going to need plants. You can always collect this every single time, and they're on a pretty fast turn rate, 10 minutes. And then the second thing you're going to create is these bouncing pots. These make potions for you, and you can guess where they are located. They are in the potion section right here. They're just this bonus thing called hopping pots, scientific hopping pot. Buy that next. That's the next blueprint you should get and slap down. Try to slap down all 3 of these. Don't wait to build, because there's a capacity on them. You might as well be operating under the highest possible churn rate you can. Grab all these. You get right there. I just got a focus potion. That's fantastic. And then, after you're done building those, the next thing you should build is the tiny pot stations. You'll be able to collect and hold an endless amount of these, so you'll never get to that point where you're absolutely bottlenecked. Now, that being said, if you are finding yourself pinched for power, the best thing that you can buy, in my opinion, is the highest yield for medium pot stations, or planting stations. The reason why is because Chinese chopping cabbages, are ungodly strong. They can stagger enemies in a lot of ways, and if you have and want to build around them, oh my god, can they one-shot every single boss in the game if you happen to have an entire build around Herbology, which is somehow stronger than Fang, which is just buffing up cabbages. Buffing up all of plant damage is much better damage than the other one. Don't ask, it's weird. Anyways, we'll talk about that probably in the next video of how you get stronger in this game. So we talked about what you want to build first, this kind of area. This is what you should build. The second area is planting. Planting is great, but eventually you'll just reach the capacity of your pockets, and you'll kind of just be on standby for a lot of it. Doesn't mean it's not good, just means it has a limitation. The second thing I think you should build after all of this is potions. This is the reason why this is so frustrating to me. Potions are, oh no, is this one not done? Okay. Potions are incredibly messy. The reason why is because you would think, oh, you're a herbologist, you should be able to build everything in-house. No, you cannot. Leeches you gain from the external world, and then what do you call it? The only thing that you can build is the Shriverfoot. It's like the blossoming flower there, the purple blossoming flower. That's the only thing you can build. That's the only thing you can build in-house. Everything else has to be explored and collected. So then it begs the question, why not just explore and collect everything out in the world space anyway? Why am I having to spend time in this weird thing? Why can't I do leeches in my own herbologist place and also a stench of death? Now, it's not that bad because this specific potion, you can actually, there's like 3 locations you can just hit up and you'll get a ton of that. So you can constantly have a storm dancing around you, which is pretty cool. But anyways, frustrating. I hope in the future game or update they may allow us to plant everything, even something as simple as stench of death or leech juice, or at least let me put that in my bestiary, essentially, the beast place. Now let's talk about the other thing, beasts. Beasts are more attached to your upgrade tree and your loom, basically. I find your beast is entirely, they're like these bestiaries, this one, and this one, which basically this one gets unlocked as soon as you're done doing the main quest for this room. But then these other 2 are unlocked by doing Deke's quest. So if you just progress enough in the story, Deke will be like, psst, hey, I got a quest for you. Go do them. They're incredibly depressing, actually. Be ready for that, Jesus. Anyways, but yes, the bestiary is mostly about upgrading your character's power. Like I said, I'll show you guys something fun. This is a little tease for the next video. Okay, we are playing on hard mode. This is my cabbages. Let's do this, and oh, you guys are alive still? Let's just throw you some cactuses. Oh, we lit up a little bit. Break that shield. What happened? Yeah, this is hard mode. That guy just got dropped. You're about to die. You're about to die too. Eventually they'll get to you. I'll break your shield so my things can get you. And he's dead. You're the only one alive. And hurry up. And he's dead. We're doing 9K every single hit. This was one of these special elite boss dungeon places. And everyone just died in 2 shots. How do you become really OP in this game? Well, it's through your bestiary. And mainly your enchantments. We'll talk about that in the next video about how to get crazy talent scaling. The one we're rocking right now on all of our clothes is just called Herbology. Herbology significantly increases the damage of all plants. You get that on all of your things. They do stack, which is crazy. And yeah, you'll be able to just annihilate the game on the hardest difficulty. And I love that because that's actually scaling stuff, which most RPGs don't have. They don't allow you to infinitely scale, which I'm happy this game does allow you to do that. Although the Room of Requirement, it'd be cool if you could truly get heinous and just create like a absolute drug house, madhouse that just constantly churns out resources. Would be great. But unfortunately, things are capped, and that's what I really wanted to tell you guys when you're pursuing your Room of Requirement. These are the things that will always be valuable to you. The plants are second, the moon ore is third. Actually, Moon Ore is probably first. These are really good, but plants eventually reach a bottleneck. This is something that if you want to base your whole build around plant damage like me, you're gonna want to build. But if you leave this to the last yard, you're gonna be fine. Potions are a letdown in my opinion, just because you have to go out of the external world in order to get a lot of this stuff. It can be remedied because there are locations that can make it easier. There'll also be a video coming out how to make Thunder Potion endlessly and always have a storm around you, basically. But yeah. Alas, that is all of the tips I have for the room of requirement. Focus on the refinery. Focus on the things that will always yield you stuff. The thing that sucks, though, is if you're like me and you have a build that kind of kills everything before they can hit you, the Wigan Will Potion, I can't grab because I have Max Willy the potions. God damn these names. Anyways. But in the next part, we're going to be talking about how to get power, and that is going to be how to utilize your bestiary place. But lastly, hopefully that helped. Again, focus on the refinery, focus on the plants, focus on the potions that endlessly give you a yield, and lastly, focus on Chinese chomping cactuses, because they are absolutely ferocious. Even if you don't have any scaling in them, they're crazy. Especially if you have the skill that you can summon 2 of them at once. It's great talent. Get it. Love you to bits. Continue to cover Hogwarts Legacy. We do stream this game an ungodly amount, so hopefully I can see in some of those. Thank you kindly. We'll also probably be doing mod reviews, because there's a lot of fun mods that are already out for this game, and I can't wait to show you some of them. Thank you kindly for your time, and goodbye, my friends.